The bomb had been sitting in the Fort Campbell parking lot for 3 weeks, right out in the open, disguised as landscaping for the Memorial Day ceremony. 12 pounds of C4 with a cell phone detonator and enough blast radius to kill everyone within 300 meters. Nobody saw it. Not the security team, not the EOD specialists who walked past it every morning, not the landscaping crew. Nobody except Captain Madison Pierce, and she was 6 months pregnant. Colonel Richard Brennan had made his decision that Tuesday morning. Staff meeting, 10 officers, routine business. Then he dropped it. "Captain Pierce, you're being transferred to family services. We need someone at the Welcome Center." Madison's hand moved to her belly. Baby Riley was kicking hard. "Sir, I'm certified for training duty until—" "Your certification isn't the issue." Brennan's voice had that edge commanders use when they've already decided. "This is a combat facility. Insurance liability." She understood. Pregnant meant useless, meant desk work, meant invisible. The other officers found their coffee interesting. Nobody made eye contact. Madison gathered her files and walked out. Different base, different colonel, same speech. The Army had given her a Bronze Star for Fallujah. Then they'd given her a desk. The parking lot was busy with morning routine. Cadets running drills, boots hitting pavement. The sun was already hot. Madison was halfway to her car when she saw it. The planter near the visitor entrance. Big terracotta pot, maybe 80 pounds, fresh red geraniums. But the soil was cracked, bone dry. Fresh flowers don't survive on neglect. Madison knew that. She also knew something else, something that made her pulse jump. The soil was different, darker, more compact. Professional landscapers don't mix soil types. She moved closer, crouched down. Her pregnant belly made it awkward, but she'd worked in worse conditions. There, under the rim, a thin green wire. The world shifted, that tunnel vision from Iraq. Time slowing, every detail crystal clear. Fallujah had taught her to trust that instinct. The marketplace, the abandoned car, the wire into the storm drain. Her team leader wanted to blow it in place. But Madison had seen the network. 1 bomb in the car, 4 more in surrounding buildings, 47 civilians inside. She'd spent 14 hours under that car, mortars falling blocks away. But her hand stayed steady, every wire traced, every connection mapped, every device disarmed. The Army gave her a Bronze Star. 2 years later, they put her behind a desk. Madison pulled out her phone. "This is Captain Pierce. I need an immediate response team at the admin building. Suspected IED. Full evacuation." The duty sergeant hesitated. "Captain, Colonel Brennan just issued orders. You're no longer authorized for field assessments." Madison's voice went flat. Calm. "Sergeant, in 90 minutes, General Victoria Cross arrives. Her motorcade parks in this location. If I'm wrong, report me. But if I'm right and you don't act, you'll explain why you ignored a bomb tech with 8 years of experience and a Bronze Star. Your call." 3 seconds of silence. "Response team rolling, 2 minutes." She could see Brennan marching across the lot. His face was red. "Captain Pierce, I just received a call that you ordered an evacuation without authorization. You're on administrative duty. You have no authority to—" "There's an IED in that planter, sir." He barely glanced at it. "That's been there 3 weeks. Landscaping installed it. You're seeing threats that don't exist." "Sir, the soil composition is inconsistent. The watering pattern doesn't match, and there's visible wiring." Brennan's expression shifted. Patronizing. "Captain, I'll be direct. Pregnancy affects judgment, increases anxiety. This is exactly why I'm transferring you." Madison looked him in the eye. "Colonel, I've spent 8 years identifying explosives. I know the difference between landscaping and a bomb. If I'm wrong, I'll accept discipline. But if I'm right, people die." The EOD van arrived. 4 specialists. The team leader was Sergeant First Class Kyle Morrison. Madison had trained him 3 years ago. "Captain Pierce, what do we got?" Madison gave him the brief, 30 seconds, every detail. Morrison listened, then turned to his team. "Get the X-ray, move." Brennan stepped forward. "Sergeant Morrison, stand down. This is a false alarm from an officer on medical profile." "Sir, Madison Pierce wrote our IED manual. She trained half this team. If she says there's a device, I'm treating this as live." The X-ray took 4 minutes. Madison watched Morrison's face, watched the color drain. Morrison walked to Brennan. "Sir, evacuate 300 meters, now." Captain Pierce was correct. 12 pounds of C4 with cell phone detonator, anti-tamper switches. If this detonates, the admin building comes down. Mass casualties. Brennan went from red to white. He looked at the planter, then at Madison. "How did you—" "Experience, sir. 8 years of it." The alarm went off 6 minutes later. 300 soldiers evacuated. General Cross's motorcade rerouted. The bomb team worked 90 minutes, carefully extracting the device. When it was done, Morrison walked over. Madison had one hand on her belly. Riley was kicking. "Captain, that was sophisticated. Whoever built that knew their work. If it had gone off during the ceremony—" He didn't finish. 3 hours later, Madison was in a conference room with General Cross and Brennan. Brennan was standing at attention. Madison was sitting because standing made her ankles swell. General Cross's voice was steel. "Colonel Brennan, explain how an officer on desk duty identified a device your security team walked past for 3 weeks. Brennan swallowed. "Ma'am, there were no intelligence indicators. She's 6 months pregnant, Colonel, and she saw what your team missed. Captain Pierce, stand." Madison stood. The general walked over and rendered a sharp salute. "Captain Madison Pierce, Bronze Star, 47 IEDs disarmed in Fallujah, 0 casualties. Today, you prevented an attack that would have killed 200 soldiers, including me. You did this while being told you were too emotional, too compromised, too pregnant to be useful." Cross turned to Brennan. Her voice dropped. "Colonel, you kicked her off base this morning. You cited liability and impaired judgment. When she was defusing bombs under fire in Fallujah, was her judgment impaired?" "No, ma'am." "When she trained the team that saved us today, was she unqualified?" "No, ma'am." "Then explain why pregnancy makes her incapable of thinking." Silence. Cross turned to Madison. "Captain, thank you. Your expertise saved lives." She extended her hand. Madison shook it. Riley kicked hard enough that the general felt it. Cross smiled. "Strong kicks. She'll be a fighter." "Yes, ma'am, she already is." 4 months later, Madison was back in the EOD center, not behind a desk, in a classroom, Riley asleep in a carrier on her chest. Brennan had transferred out. Before leaving, he stopped by. "Captain Pierce, I owe you an apology. What I said was wrong. I let assumptions override judgment. You saved lives." Madison looked at him. Not an enemy, an officer who'd learned the hard way. "Experience doesn't care about gender, Colonel, or condition. Just training and courage to trust what you see." He nodded and left. On Madison's desk were 2 photos. Her team in Fallujah after saving 47 lives. Next to it, General Cross presenting her a medal, her pregnant belly visible. 2 battlefields. Same soldier, same skills. Riley stirred. Madison smiled and went back to teaching. Her daughter would grow up knowing that strength adapts, that courage finds a way, and that sometimes the most important battles are fought by people the world decides don't matter.